Welcome back into Preacher in the Hat, 2025 edition, I guess. My name is Eric. With me here, I've got, of course, across is my twin brother, Derek. Over here to my right, which doesn't matter to you, is our dad, Steve. And behind the cameras and microphones, as always, is our man, Chris Sumter. We're really excited to have you in. We have officially turned the calendar into a second year of Preacher in the Hat, or at least second calendar year, almost to our 1 year old birthday here pretty soon. So, any thoughts on the first year of Preacher in the Hat?
Still waiting for my paycheck.
Yeah, that's in the mail. Might have got lost. I think maybe we didn't sign it or something. I don't know.
What address did you give?
I sent it to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So
That's right. That's right. Thought it was for taxes, but it's supposed to be for Chris.
yeah, but we got over 30 episodes under the belt. So go out there. If this is your first time listening to us, you're welcome to pick up right here. We are by no means chronological. We can hardly stay chronological inside the confines of one single episode. So feel free to pick up right where you are, or go back and binge listen or binge watch, whatever you'd like to do. We're glad to have you with us. So turning the page into 2025. Somebody tell me, we're not necessarily talking resolutions just yet, but what's new for 2025? What's new? What's something that's gonna be fresh in 2025 for you?
Pork rinds.
That's not fresh. That's like triple processed.
And crackling.
I'm gonna hit. Well, let's say I'm going to. I'm gonna, I'm gonna hit my goal weight this year. Eric suckered me into a new hobby.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is?
I bought a bunch of disc golf stuff that I haven't been able to use yet because it's freezing. It is
I noticed that
freezing
Eric was
cold.
doing a lot of disc golf, and I never heard Derek talk about it. So it finally.
It didn't take long.
It didn't take
converted you?
long. We went once, and I was kind of hooked. When you see that
That was
bad boy,
another Eric friend he has.
when you see it fly, you're just like, oh yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just fun, and there's there's a little strategic in how you approach stuff. It's
easier than like regular golf.
yeah, it's easier than regular golf. It's way quicker, so you're not
Cheaper.
spending like.
Cheaper.
Yeah,
You're not
infinitely cheaper.
spending 4 hours plus out there on a
Less
round.
cussing, less throwing the clubs.
Well, you can throw the discs.
I played a tournament, a doubles tournament, a few days after our Christmas live stream. So that was fun. Hopefully, I can do a little bit more of that in 2025 as well.
For the
That's
kid
exciting.
comes or something.
Perhaps we should get the Preacher in the Hat squad out on the course to film around.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like both a good idea and a bad idea at the same time, right?
I want to see it.
Anyway.
I never have understood the point of it. Like, what is it? Is it like you?
It's golf, but with frisbees into a basket.
So you pick up where your disc lands.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, the scoring is the same as golf. All that sort of
I've
thing.
been waiting my whole life for someone to give me that 10 seconds.
It wasn't even 10 seconds. It was like 4.
Google could have done it.
So
now
you
you
have-
got
so you
Chat GPT could have done it.
Bars and bogeys and,
Right.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same scoring system. Yeah. Anyway, my 2025 new is super easy because we have my wife and I have kid number 3 on the way. So middle of the year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love that baby.
Yeah.
I love the baby.
Yeah.
That'll be June of this year. So unnecessary. That'll be June of this year, and So we're super excited about that. You'll probably see around that time. You'll probably see just a little bit less of me on the podcast for a series of episodes here or there. You'll probably see my face a little bit less or hear my voice a little bit less, which is
I want to say I love the babies one more time.
We're gonna let Chris direct those episodes.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, there we go.
Take us right from the start.
That's right.
What else is new in 2025?
At my age, I sometimes wonder how much new stuff should I be starting. I never was like that because but I did tell your mom the other day on our trip. I said, I don't know. I feel like I need something new, so I don't know what it is. I don't know yet.
It is. What's new for him in 2025?
Oh yeah, getting a wood pellet grill.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That is happening.
that's also worth the round.
I have my crack team on it for me here.
Yes.
To help me make a decision about which one to buy. But
We are selecting a
Don't
Pit
let the
Boss
clothes
model.
fool you. I got the money, Chris. You know what I'm saying?
We're
So
going.
I got the money. And I just waiting for the experts to roll in with their opinions.
All this time that we've talked about food over these last, however many episodes, and Dad chimes in sarcastically about something about foodie in the hat or something
Yeah.
like that. And he's one of us, one
right.
of us, one of us.
Peer pressure's a terrible thing.
We've done it.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. That's how I'm.
I'll tell you what happened to me. I like meat with my food.
Hold your ears, PETA.
I like meat with my food. And when you go out to a restaurant, these days, it's quite pricey. So if I can do some smoking and carrying on with some meat and have it throughout the week, that's going to be a good thing.
It is. It's a good thing.
Because the wonderful cook that I live with, she just doesn't mind doing vegetables and stuff with it, but meat is not her specialty. I mean, she does some
Well,
great.
she
does
can
some
do it.
great
It just
stuff.
may not be her and what
Yeah.
she enjoys the most.
Yeah. As far as cooking, but anyhow, so
So
there
have
we
you,
go.
have you grill? I mean, are you a griller by?
I was growing up when they were growing up. I
But not
grilled.
like a smoker, like a grill,
No,
like,
but I
like-
love smoked meat, and so I'm that's why I'm shooting for that. That's why.
Yeah, your life's probably about to change.
I think so.
For the better, 100%.
Yeah.
He'll send you some photos. Of
That's what Chris wants. If you all would send to
I'm not
preacherinthehat at
sending him photos, 'cause
gmail.com
next
all
thing I
of
know, he'll be at my
all of the
doorstep.
meat that you smoke and grill over the course of this year, please send a picture to Chris.
Well, you guys could at least like write a little note and like slap it on and then mail it to me where I can at least smell it. Maybe.
Chris was lamenting before we started tonight, before we started filming, about how people only ever send him pictures of the things that they grill. He wants people to actually invite him over to taste
Yes.
the things that they're sending. So if y'all would help us torture him a little bit with this.
Chris, have you ever set a New Year's resolution? Never.
No, but I am heading toward my max weight. And it feels great. I just got to tell you. You can't do right around the holiday season.
It's tough.
I mean, you can. I mean, and just when you think,
I think that's part of the reason that the whole weight loss thing in the New Year's comes a resolution, because
I
you
think so too.
you hop on that scale January 1st and you're like, what happened?
Wow. Yeah. I feel it. Like I think it was somewhere. Yeah, somewhere in the week after Christmas this year, where I was like, man, I can feel that.
It's inevitable, because I feel like you have that week of between Christmas, so somewhere around December 24th, somewhere around Christmas Eve, all the way through New Year's, that it's just like
For me, it starts in
the
Thanksgiving.
schedule is completely different. Like the routine is non-existent. It looks nothing like your normal other 51 weeks of the year. And then there's food everywhere you go.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I think I put like 2 pounds back on, and I didn't
That's
get
not
to go
bad
to
at
the
all.
gym. No, I felt okay about that.
2 pounds is good.
I think you get to a point where you start realizing how incredibly undisciplined of a person. Like I have realized how
Oh, yes.
undisciplined of a person I am. Like my wife is phenomenally disciplined person, disciplined in her time with the Lord, disciplined in her time at the gym, disciplined in her macros, and I don't even like. It's crazy. And I just realized I literally don't tell myself no.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I appreciate your laughter, but it is sad to live a life like that. And I don't mean like I'm not painting a picture of me laying on a floor with a needle in my arm. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
I understand.
I'm just like, for the love of God, man, like get yourself together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, and really you
I've,
get to
I've,
a,
I think I've felt that. Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
get to a point where you're like, man, like do something that's tough. You know?
Do
Yeah.
something
Somebody-
difficult.
Challenge yourself.
Somebody
Like,
recently
come
said
on.
that discipline is greater than motivation. You know, a lot of times we think we're not motivated to. You know, when I get motivated, I will do this. When I get motivated, then I'll do it. When I get ready, we call it.
Right.
And really, motivation is so fickle. It's so fickle that they talk about discipline being greater than motivation.
Particularly in like your mundane, that's maybe the wrong word, but like the routine stuff.
Yeah, that's
just
right.
and just like
Yeah.
going to the gym as
Yeah,
like
that's right.
a normal
Yeah.
person. You're not some like athlete striving for the championship, or
That's
you know,
right.
like
That's right.
you know, it's the days that you will feel motivated in the mornings to get up and go. You know, there will be days that you are, but there's going to be just as many days that you're not, and making the choice to actually get up and do something. It's the it
Motivation
applies way
is
more
at
than just-
best a fleeting thing.
Yeah.
Many times,
And I think that's often what has, you know, the whole New Year's resolution thing, and why everybody is what percentage, I forget, of resolutions are dead by the second Friday in
Is it the
in
second
January.
Friday?
Yes,
Wow.
it's the second Friday, and it's because of that. It's because you're motivated for a little while, but
Yeah.
you don't have enough time to like build in the discipline for it to really stick.
You also, I think we have a really a tendency to aim super high on some of that stuff too,
Yeah.
because you think about like what the perfect version of you should look like, and you set your sights to that. We're really bad, I feel like, at setting incremental goals.
I'm not setting any. I'm just trying not to get fatter. I just don't want to be any fatter, please, sir. No more fat.
No additional fat.
No additional fat, please. But you know, and here's the thing that I find a little bit funny about. It's trendy. All this stuff is trendy. Like one guy's not eating carbs. One girl's not eating only meat, only this, only that. And I'm like, to your point about motivation versus, and I'm putting words in your mouth, but being a way of your life.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
You know, like how long can you, you know, even my kids have done this fasting thing. And I'm like, how long can you do that for? You know, but there's so many trends out there about weight loss and about this. And it's like, well, if you can't do it to the end, why? You know what I mean? Or is it possible to say it's okay to do something for a little while?
Well,
You know, to
It's-
lose 2 pounds.
it's
and then
like I've lost weight a number of times in my life. A couple of times super successfully, and right now I'm doing like really nicely maintaining my weight. Anyway, so I've had people talk to me in the past about, hey, what's my best bet for losing weight? Not because I'm some expert, but just because I've done it.
What's your
in the past.
secret?
Yeah, not really, but and I think people are a little bit disappointed when I tell them that literally, like, for me, the best thing that I can do to lose weight and lose weight consistently is portion control. Like, I think people want to hear that they can run 1 mile every 3 days and that's going to do it, or
Right.
that they cut one thing out of their diet and you know, and that's going to do it. It's like, well, cutting things out of your diet, unless you really have some trash in there, but like cutting things out of your diet is not going to be sustainable, because like if you're my age in your mid 30s or whatever, are you really going to go the entire rest of your life without eating bread? You know, I mean, I know, you know, some people, it's just an example. I know some people maybe do that, and that's great. That's fine. But it's like those kind of things aren't as realistic as just like, why don't you keep eating what you're eating?
Exactly.
As long as it's not just total and utter junk, and just dial it back. But like, that's where like the discipline thing comes in, because it's almost like there's not, like, people feel like there's not, it's not motivating, but it is disciplined.
Well, there's been something I've become aware of over the last few years is what the field of looking at micro habits. The micro habits are really the ones that do it. Like the small thing of portion control, that's a micro habit. You know, getting up and going to the gym, that's a micro habit. In other words, you're right, Derek. I think a lot of times we try to look at the huge habit. You know, the habit of losing weight. Well, there's no such habit. It's not. That's not really a habit.
Else
That's
should be down to zero.
that's a desire. Yeah, that's a desire, but it's not a habit.
But I think about like how much more successful you could be when you break it up into those smaller increments. And this is a tactic, a strategy that's made its way into the business world and things like that, and in planning small increments of the business, or you know, or in this case of your life.
Right.
So like, because we talk about the New Year's resolution, and some people are really good at them, but that's a small portion of people who are. And so what be more beneficial if from a spiritual perspective you think like, I really need to get into the word every day, and if you say, okay, for the first 7 days of the year I'm going to read for, you know, an hour or whatever, I don't know, whatever the time that you're going to set, or you're going to study for that, and then that next day 8 comes and you say, okay, now what am I going to do for these next 7 days? What am I going to do for these next 7 days?
That's
Versus we say like, all right, I'm going to read the Bible this year. And, you know, it doesn't happen for the first 2 weeks and you're already behind, and you're like, well, it's too much now. I can't do it.
So I did a Bible reading plan for a year, and it was really hard to finish. So I actually stayed on track for like a remarkable amount of time. Like, I would say from knowing myself, but then got behind, and like it ended up taking a little bit more than a year, but it's like, then you're like jamming it all in.
Yeah.
At the end.
It's not your fault.
But at the same time,
It wasn't your fault.
I wasn't really blaming.
It's all about you create the habit better if you say, you look at yourself and you say like, man, I really need to lose 45 pounds this year. Like, well,
wow.
you know, but if you say, well, you know, I'm going to start by, you know, whatever amount of eating goals, and I'm going to walk 1 mile a day for 7 days and see how I feel. How do I feel after that? You know, that's like,
it's kind of like the process versus results oriented kind of thing.
Well, one thing that I've thought about in this whole discussion is recently there's a lot of writers that are talking about that in our culture, we overestimate willpower. People who study how people change find out that willpower has very little to do with it. Your will can easily be overridden by your thoughts. And you read people like Dallas Willard, you read people like Jim Wilder and other people that study both the brain, and some of the secular research they're finding too, that this idea of willpower, of we can just do it. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps was an old saying many years ago. And in America, we're all big on willpower. You have the willpower to do it. But willpower really, your will is not really something to even be trained. But your brain can be trained, and your mind can be trained, and your body can be trained. You know, but your will is not anything that has near the amount of power that people think it do. Because it's like you can be anything you want to be. That's crazy talk. That's like I can will myself to lose 45 pounds. You don't. You can't will yourself to lose 45 pounds, because willing yourself to lose 45 pounds is not what makes you lose 45 pounds.
Brother, that'd be like you saying you will yourself to be a Baptist.
That's
That's
right.
crazy talk.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Apologies
Or
to
you
all
will
our
yourself into
Baptist
heaven.
listeners. I'm not sure
You-
they're catching strays here today. I don't-
Yeah, that's definitely a stray, because I have no idea what that means. But willing yourself to be Baptist, I have no idea. But
Our formal apology is printed on screen right
Yeah.
now.
that's right. This is the thoughts and stray thoughts of Chris Sumter and Chris Sumter.
Well,
alone.
that's why those things don't stick, man. What you were just saying. That's why it doesn't stick.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's why I refuse to be a part of it all.
Yeah, willpower.
So you just do not. So yeah, but you're advocating doing nothing. Like, well, it don't stick. So I'm
So you're saying if willpower don't work, there's no need for me to try, right? Is that what you're
That's-
saying?
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that.
So there is a completely flip flop side of that, of saying, well, things like that. You know, we're talking in using New Year's resolutions as an example. Those things never work. So why make any changes?
Well, my willpower cannot motivate me. It might motivate me for a day or two, but that's how weak it is. It might do it till the second Friday in January, right? For a resolution. I can I use my willpower, but it runs out like that. I mean, like your willpower just run out.
Oh no, it does.
Boom.
You talking about going to the gym in the morning, and
Absolutely.
then you on the third day of it being 19 degrees when you're getting in your car.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's enough to not get out on the fourth day.
That's right.
But it's just like my wife. It becomes like a holistic thing that she does. That's why she's so irritated if I try to keep her up past 9 o'clock. Because she's the person that's every single day getting up at 5 and going to the gym. You have to go to bed at 9 if you want to get up at 5. You know, it affects both ends of that.
That's right. That's right.
So you just have to be willing to do that.
But it's a whole lot of like training your brain and training yourself to get into that routine. And where Eric, you talked about before, like not being so result oriented versus like, I think a lot of times we say like, oh man, well I really messed that up today, so I gotta stop doing what I was doing and really buckle down now this time. Whereas you can say like, I know that the smart thing to do is exercise and eat right. So like I did that poorly today, so I know I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna exercise and I'm gonna eat right. And if I exercise and eat right, and then tomorrow the scale still says the same thing it said yesterday, today I'm still going to exercise and I'm going to eat right. Like, you know, it doesn't change because of there was one, you know, oh, I didn't see a result that day. It's like, well, you know, you still know what the right thing is to do. And
So we don't do this very often, but listen to these words from the book, The Brain Change Program. To repeat, the solution to weakness of will is not developing a stronger will. The solution to weakness is developing righteous habits, aka automatic behaviors, so that willing and choosing are not even part of the process.
Yeah.
So that you don't even have to, like for Tina, she's not choosing every morning to go to the gym at 5 o'clock. She just does it. Gets up at 5 o'clock and goes to the gym. It's not every morning she has to make a decision, am I going to get up or not? It's just automatic behavior on the days that she's going to go.
Yeah.
You know, because it's now automatic behavior for her, so it's not that. So doing the right thing is less about conscious reasoning than it is about establishing the proper automatic response. When acting lovingly becomes automatic and habitual, we're able to demonstrate love even in circumstances that would otherwise provoke negative responses. Anyone can become a moral giant with the right training. So the idea is training. The idea is not willpower. So for me, the goals that I have is what kind of training will I have and what needs to be trained. What part of my brain needs to be trained?
Yeah. I think that's a great way to look at it too, because we've kind of morphed the word resolute or resolution or whatever into almost this list of things that we want to see happen.
that's right.
You know, when there's a really good one of the definitions that I like for the word resolute is basically like fixed. Is it fixed in purpose or something like that,
Yeah.
or firm in purpose, and that's more kind of like what we're talking about, and what you kind of how you mentioned about how getting up at Tina getting up at 5 o'clock for the gym every day. That's fixed in that's what that is. We've kind of taken made it into just like this list of things we want to happen, and it's more that brain training and that's the side of it that we naturally as humans I feel like don't want to do. But that was a really good passage.
Do you ever see people that have incredible resolve like that, where they just do, and you're like way back, like several acres away, looking over at them, like, how do they do that?
But they didn't get there overnight.
No, I know. I agree with you, and I wonder if what's the difference between creating good habits and creating bad habits? Is it the same science, or is it completely different?
Well, you get trained both ways. I mean, bad habits, you actually do. You don't just develop bad habits by happenstance either. You're trained by it.
Yeah.
You're trained by it, and so the same thing will be true for righteous habits. So we don't tend to think about it being training, but we train our bodies to be lazy sometimes. If we end up lazy, we've probably trained our bodies to be lazy. We've done the things that lead to laziness. I think about it. I mean, we can go back a little bit in terms of change, like Mabry, who is our granddaughter, and your niece, and your friend Chris, who are 9-year-old, who has cerebral palsy. But what they said is you had to stimulate the muscles to send a notice to the brain. And so the muscles begin to train the brain. They would say, this is the way to do it. So you would move them. That was part of the therapy she had to go through. And then it would send it back. It's the same principle as muscle memory. The memory's not in your muscle all the time. The memory's in your brain. You see, so to be trained, to retrain some of her muscles, or to train them for the first time, they had to be trained and had to send a message back. This is the way we're going to do it. We're going to do it like this. We're going to do it like that. Because her brain was misfiring. So her brain is what needed to be trained. And the way you did it, you had to go through training in terms of physical. So your physical body can train your brain just as much as your brain can train your physical body. The reverse being true. They're partners. And they need to work together with whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, kind of to what you were kind of leaning towards there, Chris. So I feel like anything can train you.
Yeah.
The TV can train you. The phone can train you. That's happened to me, and
Even comfort can train you. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
like I'll get home from like listen to a bunch of just people that like to complain sometimes, and it's nice sitting and at the fire and just. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with relaxing, but you can find lazy. You can kind of get used to that feeling.
Oh yeah.
As an escape.
and then withdraw, and say this is where I always need to be, or this is the only place that really works for me. Yeah.
I feel like this has been a therapy session for me.
There's been a whole lot of psychology here
My
from
I've caught about 3% of it.
yeah, some
I
of us
still
go
owe somebody
over
some
that.
money.
But I think too, like it's about, for me, I think, is not setting an end point to some sort of goal. Like, so for the example that my dad used for my niece Mabry is when she was going through therapy, the goal was not so that she could walk one time. The goal was so that walking became a part of her daily life,
That's
and then to the point that walking's no big deal now. The same way we like to say, like, oh, I want to get down to this weight. It's like, well, what do you do once you get to that weight? Really, we should say, like, I want to do I want to set healthy habits that I do this and this and this every day to the point that it becomes not a big deal. Same way in our spiritual walk. Not, I'm just going to read all of the Bible. Like, well, what do you do after that? So really the goal should be like, I want to get to a point where I'm doing something like whatever it is every day, and it becomes no big deal, and it's just a part of life. And that's how we get past saying, that threshold of, because you know what I used to do when I set a goal weight in my mind, which I still do, like I want to, because I feel like it's a healthy weight for me. I want to get down to that and then maintain it. But this last time I decided to create the habit of exercise and get to that first and then establish weights. But when I have in the past gotten down to some weight that I identified, I stayed down there for maybe like a couple of weeks before I immediately started going back up, because I was like, sigh of relief, I'm done. I got to that weight. And then I didn't keep.
Well, and sometimes what we've been looking for is macro habit, one macro habit, which I can do that will get me to my weight, when in fact it's a bunch of little ones. It includes portion size. It includes exercise. For me, if I just look at the macro habit of going to the gym and trying to lose weight that way, I've found out that doesn't work for me. What I am finding right now on the micro habit of riding a bicycle some days and working out at the gym 1 or 2 days a week, and riding bike once or twice, maybe 2 times a week. That's 2 little micro habits, which I both enjoy, but I enjoy them in micro amounts, not macro amounts. If you told me I had to get up from the gym at 5 o'clock every morning, it's not going to happen for me. That's a macro habit. That's not going to happen for me right now. It never has happened for me. But when I do some micro habits, and I pay attention to some other things, some little things, then they're combined. So I see the goal. A lot of times when people make resolutions, I think that's just a desire they have, a desire to lose 45 pounds. I don't know. They may call it a goal. They may call it a resolution, but I think it's pretty much just kind of like, well, that's a great idea. I desire to have 45 pounds. And you go, okay. It's okay to have that desire. There's nothing wrong with that. But it will get you there. That desire alone will never get you there. It's not motivating enough to get you there. The macro habits are what will discipline you to get you there. The micro habits are what will get you there, is what I've learned a little bit about. Not a lot, but a little bit.
So what if, you got the people who are all about setting resolutions, you know what I mean? And then you got the people all the way over on the other side. Don't care. Mm-hmm. Talk to those people for a minute. What's the first step?
The ones that don't care?
Yeah. Like, what would be just a really nice first step?
Yeah.
Just those people I've heard about exist.
Yeah, that's right. They're
Not
somewhere
you.
out there.
Definitely not me.
No.
Somewhere in the universe. Well, one of the things that some people are talking about, Chris, is that you have to begin with replacement behaviors. You just start with replacement behaviors. Now, they say they don't want to, but underneath, they really would like to see a change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In their better moments, they say, yeah, I really would like to see a change. And so the only way you can do it is to do it with small replacement behaviors, not a thought process that gets you to a point now you're ready to do it. For example, I see some people who keep going to college and keep going to training, and finally I look at them sometimes, I said, you're done preparing now. Stop preparing. You know what I'm saying?
Hooper, get off the pot. Bro.
Yeah. Well, I don't say it like that, but again,
It is a saying.
Straight
No,
thought.
I mean, I feel you.
But you don't have to just like a huge change. Normally, it's going to have to be in some small area. What's one area that I could do? And the other thing that sometimes has to work is what we haven't even talked about: external discipline. There's this internal discipline, then there's external discipline. Sometimes you start doing things because you have external discipline in your life and you're required to do so. Like, how many men that go into the military would make their bed if the sergeant who was coming in to inspect, or whoever it is that coming in to inspect, wasn't coming in and doing it? They wouldn't make their bed. But that external discipline gets them into a habit, and oftentimes when they come out, they're still making their bed like they did. That kind of thing. So
Yeah, I would say the most important thing is trying to start really small, like so small that you're like, well, that's not going to make that much of a difference. Like, oh, but yeah, it will. It's like Derek. Remember when we started back at the gym? How long has it been? 6-7 months ago now, and we talked about. Because we've both gone to the gym plenty in the past, is not diving in to everything day one, and then overwhelming your body, and it just you quit. So that's just the gym as an example. But like people who don't, and exercise is an easy one to point out. But like if you can't get off the couch, then I would tell someone take a like 10-minute walk after dinner one night in the week on Mondays. It's like, oh, well, that's not going to help me lose any weight. Yeah, you're right. That's not what I'm concerned about yet. So, like, can you take a 10-minute? Well, and I'm not saying that's what you're looking for. I'm just saying that, like, in general, it's like you take something that small, and it's not about this is the difference that action is going, or this is the result what that action is going to give. But like this is like the first step, and then you take that when you start taking that 10-minute walk, and you get used to it, then you're going to want to start doing it more nights a week. Because it feels good. It actually does feel really good to walk after you eat. And then you come back, then you sit back on the couch. Everything feels nicer. Everything settles nicer. Anyway,
and you might sleep better too.
Tiny step. But you're not going to lose any weight with a 10-minute walk one time a week. But it's all about taking that first step.
Did we say micro habits yet? Have we talked about micro habits
yet? You did.
I thought we did, didn't we?
I know we're winding down on time, but what do I owe you guys for this?
We'll bill you.
I mean, good.
I just want to know which micro habit by next week when we get together. We need to hear one micro habit you started.
Okay.
Yeah, one micro habit you started.
And if you're
it can be a tiny little thing.
And if you're out there listening and you had one come to your mind, let us know what it was.
That's right. Put it
we'd
in the
love to
notes.
hear about it, and we want to talk about it and have a chance to hear what's on your mind as well. So we're back in 2025, as you can see. This was our first episode for the year. Many more to come. We're glad you were with us. So for Derek and Steve, Chris behind the cameras, my name's Eric. This has been Preacher in the Hat, and we'll see you next time.